Good evening. Welcome to the Canby Urban Renewal Agency special meeting for August 14th, 2013. If you will please stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stay standing for a moment of silence, please. Great. Thank you very much. We have a short agenda this evening for the agency, so we'll get right into the consent agenda. I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda with the minutes from the last two meetings.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes from the meeting for June 19th, 2013, and approval of minutes from July 10th, 2013.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Hensley and second by Commissioner Dale to approve the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes from June 19th, 2013 and the minutes from July 10th, 2013. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Passes, I have to redo my math here. 5-0.
You're voting member.
I am. It is 6. Thank you, Commissioner.
Sure.
Our first opportunity for citizen input and community announcements. Any citizen input at this time? All right. Sue?
Just very quickly, the library invites everyone to celebrate the end of the summer reading program with marimba music and more. Chica Marimba will perform at 2 o'clock this Saturday, August 17th in Waite Park, and everybody's welcome to come. The summer reading party is sponsored by Roth Heating and Cooling. And then an upcoming pool closure, the Canby Swim Center will be closed for its annual maintenance from August 26th through September 15th. Crews will be cleaning and painting the facility.
Great. Thank you, Sue. Moving into new business, we have first there's the selection of the new Urban Renewal Agency chair with the opening here on the Council and Commission. We need to appoint a new chair for the Urban Renewal Agency. So, take any thoughts or?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'm one of the newest ones on the council, and so this last round of going through the budgets, I think you've done a fine job as mayor, and I think Tim Dale demonstrated an outstanding job being the chair of our budget committee. So I'd like to nominate Tim Dale for the chair of the Urban Renewal.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay.
I wasn't sure. This process was confusing me.
Any other thoughts or nominees or of the such? Mr. Dale, do you have any comments on?
If elected, you will serve.
If I'm elected, I will serve. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Coleman to nominate Commissioner Dale as the new chair for the Urban Renewal Agency, and a second by Commissioner Ryder. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Seeing none, that goes along the way. So Commissioner Dale will now become Chairman Dale,
All right.
starting with our next meeting in September. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Next order of business is economic development updates. All right.
But now it's okay. Now it's okay.
So I'm the only update tonight, and you're just speak very fast, faster than normal, I guess. In the promotion side, the Downtown Canby First Friday and Cash Mob was Friday, August 2nd. We featured the businesses that wanted to participate this time, made it free for them to participate, but then we also included vendors. We had 4 vendors show up. 1 had an emergency, so only 3 actually came. And that outreach will continue. The vendors that came to this one were all Saturday market people who decided to come, and then I'll get to the feedback that I had in just a bit. Had some children's activities. We had balloon animals made by Clackamas County Chair Ludlow. The vendors that participated were made by Rosemary, Leon's Farm, and Borealis Bistro. In an effort to expand participation, it was free for the businesses and very affordable for the vendors, $10 a spot. All the new vendors reported success and interest in continuing with the program. I actually went back to the Saturday market this Saturday to pass out more information on the upcoming First Friday, and then also on an event that is happening on Saturday, September 7th. And it's very funny because I started talking to one person and she said, oh, I already heard that it was really great from that person over there. And so they all had gotten together and really talked. So luckily, a few people chose to come out in August and kind of be the guinea pigs. But I think that that momentum will increase over time, and I'm sure that we've already had interest from somebody who wasn't able to participate in August. So they said it was great. We got some feedback that we would probably want to cluster them a little bit more than we had in the past. I had feedback from people who attended First Friday that said it was nice that there were people around, babies and children and parents and strollers. So I think that, obviously it's kind of a moving target, but that this new program is going to work pretty well. With the marketing, we marketed it with social media advertising on Facebook, and we got the report back that says we reached 31,278 unique people. Our Canby Main Street page, which had all the information about First Friday, but then also has more information about other events, businesses, promotions. We received 109 more likes and 345 page views. So the time that this ran was from Saturday, I think it would have been the 27th or 28th, 29th maybe, through First Friday, so less than a week. It attracted a broader audience. We had a volunteer who had never been and said, I saw it on Facebook, I'm coming down, and she brought her children, and it was a great, fun time. The last final cash mob location was Puddin River Chocolates. As the First Friday program evolves, this component is being discontinued in favor of other approaches, and we might revisit it in the future, but we'll leave that for now. The August downtown draw features Dr. Kevin B. Johnson, DMD, Cosmetic and Family Dentistry, which is located at 333 Northwest 3rd Avenue. This downtown draw is an effort to market all of the downtown businesses, whether they are entertainment or service-based. So, for instance, if there was like an investor or something who was, had a business downtown, he might be interviewed to be part of it. And it runs in our newsletter, so it will be out tomorrow, on our Facebook page, website, and then it's also a way to cross-promote with the businesses so that they can become more used to using social media as a way to market their business and cross-promote with other things downtown. Then one thing that's not on here is that we have an event, a Kiss Summer Goodbye music event in the park, Saturday, September 7th. This is actually going to take place in lieu of the run that we had been working towards with the summertime and something in some of my volunteers' water, which produces babies. We just decided that maybe now is not quite the right time to be having a huge event, but we're doing music, vendors. A lot of the Saturday market vendors are going to do the Saturday market until 2 and then come over, and it will be from 4 to 8 p.m. and you should start seeing some marketing about that very soon. Moving on to organization, the Historic Review Board met Monday, August 5th. We received a more in-depth survey from one of our newest volunteers, Carol Palmer. She's also working with the Canby Historical Society. She came from Surprise, Arizona, and just has a ton of background in getting historical information and finding ways to process it. So she's a great asset, just like the rest of our committee. It meets at the Canby Main Street office, and we were going to do a walking tour, but due to the heat, we decided to postpone our walking tour a little bit. We're going to take a look at the downtown historic sites. The Planning Department and Economic Development Department just received an intern, a GIS intern, and she actually mapped all of the sites within the downtown commercial district for us, so that we can use it now with a walking tour, but then also in the future when we probably want to put some promotional materials forward. We're hoping to meet with the owner of Canby Trophies so we can begin discussion about our plaque program, and which is funded in part by the Certified Local Government Grant that we received, I think, in April. And then the following, so that will be in September 9th. The following meeting will be October 7th, and we'll be joined by Curry Gill from the State Historic Preservation Office, who's just going to kind of listen to what we have to say, make sure we're in the right direction, and give us some feedback because the committee is so new. Parking. The Parking Task Force met on Tuesday, July 23rd at 6 p.m. 15 downtown business owners and managers attended and are interested in working towards finding a solution that benefits the greater good and helps make downtown Canby as customer-friendly as possible. The task force decided to create a targeted survey that will find out more about downtown businesses and their parking needs, and so that task force can decide the best way to move forward. The survey is going to be emailed out, and we had thought that we had just a database of emails, and we don't, so it's a little bit longer process, but I hope to have that out very, very soon. And some of the task force members offered to also touch base with their business, friends and next door neighbors. So that's just really encouraging that they're not just saying there's a problem, but they're saying there's a problem and we're going to help to find the solution. The follow-up meeting will be on Tuesday, September 10th at the Police Facility Community Room. After meeting with the Rapid Response Team, moving on to business outreach, the Main Street Manager, Renata Mengelberg, and Bev Doolittle from the Chamber of Commerce made appointments with businesses that were identified as needing assistance. After meeting with those businesses, the Rapid Response Team came back to meet again with the Chamber in Main Street. And then the next step, which I've been playing phone tag now, with Karen Carroll from the Small Business Development Center, so she can work individually with these businesses to provide specific assistance. And so, they have the history to be able to say, tell me all of the problems. Let's say there's 5 things that you want to work on, but maybe 3 of those really go back to financing. If you need a marketing budget, you need to know how to balance the books or where you can save money. So we're really encouraged, and I hope to touch base with her very, very soon. And then moving on to design, the Arts Committee, Canby Main Street is forming a new Arts Committee, and it will advise the Design Committee, bringing all different forms of public art to downtown Canby, provide recommendations on public art, identify funding sources to install art throughout Canby, and a detailed list of objectives will be published through different city channels, and a meeting will follow. And I hope that as soon as Renata returns, I'll be able to have her look at my information, and then we'll be able to send it out. And then, if you don't have any questions, following up on design, I'll move into the facade improvement update. Yes?
I just have a comment
Yes.
regarding the parking and the parking task force meeting. It was really, you mentioned the businesses jumping in and wanting to help. I think it was really encouraging that it was, all of them jumped in, offered to take a whole street or a whole block to follow up with those businesses that you didn't have emails for, and to try to work together to get some good ideas hammered out. And it was really encouraging. It was a very positive meeting. Everybody seemed to be really interested in trying to understand that there's issues, and they just want to work them out, so that it's really best and juggle balancing the customers as they come downtown with the employees that park downtown as well.
Absolutely.
And trying to balance that so that we're not going to 2 extremes and moving back and forth. So it was great meeting, and so I'm excited about that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Did you say there were 15 people at that meeting?
Yes.
Is that the biggest Main Street meeting we've had in a while?
No. Yes, it is. I think
Yeah.
it is. Darn it.
Yeah, and 15, and I think 2 of us were from the city.
Yeah, so 14, not including.
It's interesting what we get turnout for.
It is.
So
It's-
I think on all promotion meetings, we should put a resolution saying
limiting the number of spaces on First Avenue and see if that helps with attendance. Also, I do want to thank you for your flexibility with the run and also the cash mob. I think it's a real sign of maturity and leadership in city staff when they can be flexible. It's far too easy just to say, this is what we've been doing, we're going to keep on doing it. Times change, interests change, participants change, and it is a sign of leadership that you say, not this, but we're gonna try this. So we'll be down there, although I was looking forward to a foot race with the mayor, but perhaps that'll be next year.
I would gladly let you guys run around the park.
Foot race. A three-legged race, though, that would be entertaining.
I'm not even going to touch that one right
I was
now.
hoping.
So moving on to the facade
Please,
improvement
that would be
update.
great.
So the Canby Urban Renewal Agency supports local businesses with resources to help them succeed. The expanded facade improvement program partners with property owners and businesses to spruce up their exterior. This partnership will help the Canby Business District revitalize and become more inviting to customers and residents. Eligible businesses must be located within the Urban Renewal District boundary, and I promise that's the only large thing that I'm going to read, so it'll be jazzed up. So this is just a list of the eligible projects and ineligible projects, and then ineligible participants. So it has to be a commercial building, unless it's a mixed-use development. Eligible projects, just to name a few: painting, masonry cleaning, awnings. Those, I would say, are some of the main things that we have seen just in the past year. Ineligible projects, refinancing of existing debt, previously completed design or construction work, or individual business signage.
Jamie, just real quick, just a call out. I noticed, so this was a bit of conversation for us at one point this year, was downward, talking about the structures, hardware, and mounting materials for blade signs, monument signs, and wall signs. That was something that was new, added, and we're just talking about the framework of
Just
the sign, not
hardware
the,
and mounting material, just the stuff that can stay. Obviously, we don't want to lose any business,
Right.
but the fact of the matter is that businesses change. So if it can stay from one business to the next,
Right.
we will fund that. And I will get more into that in
Okay.
just a second. Changes to the program. We removed signage as an eligible project and included the hardware and mounting materials for signs. And that is just because it's supposed to be for things that are going to stand the test of time. And we also created a blade side program. While it's not completely underneath the facade improvement program, it works really well together. It's kind of modeled off of that program. And we're hoping that from what we've seen from the facade improvement program that we'll have that same interest once we really get going with the blade sign program, that we have seen that it just takes a few people to step up and say, I want to do this, and then you have a large amount of people that show up to participate. So the facade improvement program offers grants up to $1,500 to help develop a design. So this is just an example of the American Legion design that we received. $1,500 towards funding construction documents. So Mr. Mayor, I think you know that building? It's the
I do recognize
Vantage
that
Mortgage
building,
building.
yes.
And so those are more detailed construction documents. And this is just, both of these are just a way to get the conversation rolling a little bit more, so that I can't imagine what a building would look like, but if somebody showed it to me, I might be a little bit more lenient on wanting to spend money to update a building. 50% in matching grants for up to $25,000 for facade improvement construction. And I have to say that while I was looking at the signage and looking to move towards the blade sign program, that I did some research about other communities in Oregon, some our size, some smaller, some bigger, and we had a really generous program. And the nice thing about it is what we've seen. Some people come in and they say, we just want to spend $1,500 to fix an awning. But then we have people like the American Legion that are spending, upwards of, I think, $80,000 to completely redo. So it's nice to have that flexibility to really allow people to dream big, which is what we want. So So I've got some before and after pictures. This just goes through, it's cut off a little bit, but the buildings or the properties within the last year. So the American Legion, still underway. Trinity Counseling, I don't believe that construction has started yet, but that is underway. They've done the design assistance. T-Line design is completed. Mike's Place is still underway. Jean's Home Electronics is completed. Canby Clinic and Advantage Mortgage are both underway. And then the Anderson Fair Place is completed. And so this just breaks down the investment that has been made to date. And so, you know, for example, like the American Legion has spent quite a bit of money, up to that $25,000, but they're doing such a huge remodel. Whereas Jean's Home Electronics, really, they focused on a new awning, painting, and that's, you know, painting the trim in the door, and that's pretty much it. And so it's just nice to be able to have that flexibility. So this is bricks and minifigs. This was being completed just at the tail end of kind of this year that we've done. So I included it still, but I had the old Blockbuster building and then now the bricks and minifigs. Of course, the American Legion, which is still under construction, but this down here picture, the after picture, is just from this afternoon, and it's amazing to see how far that's come. It's
very attractive.
Yeah, really attractive and really inviting. Not to say that it wasn't before, but you know, it was a recessed door, and that was sometimes a little bit hard to get past. So it's looking great. Trinity Counseling, it says after, but this is their before picture. T-Line design is featured here. It's kind of hard to see, but they went with the green and the gold. I think it looks very attractive, obviously much better than the peeling blue that was before. Mike's Place. It's funny, as I was taking the picture today and looking at the old one, it doesn't look like a huge difference, but he really has done things to change the paint, make sure it's cleaner. He fixed the awning, he installed new doors. He's looking at doing some windows now because he still has some of that flexibility up to the $25,000. And so his rehab of his building, it's kind of been more of a process, which has been interesting to see. But once he got one thing done, he thought, oh, maybe I can do this. And it's been really nice. He's been a joy to work with. So they're also one of our newest First Friday participants. This is the old Jean's Home Electronics, which is now CH Accounting. Obviously a different awning they painted, and it just really makes that building look really classic and stand out. The Canby Clinic, they're in process, and the reason the after picture is kind of slanted is because I wanted to show you that at the bottom they have done a lot of work with their windows and they've removed that bench. But if I went onto the street, then you wouldn't be able to see. So it doesn't look a ton different yet, but it's in process, and their awning is coming pretty soon here, I think in the next couple of weeks, and that is going to make a huge difference. It will stretch along the whole top and really just make that building pop. Then the Advantage Mortgage building, which is coming along, looks great. The Anderson Fair Place sign. So again, while we did not pay for the thing that says Canby Health Clear Clinic, well, it's a mouthful, we did the sign and the installation. So that is just one way that the project has kind of morphed, and they took that whole idea and just ran with it, and they were so happy to have a new sign, and it looks fantastic. And so for more information, you can contact me, or it's all online. Any information, I think all of the applications and everything are there, so that it makes it easy. Sometimes we have people that call and say, can I come in and talk about it? Some people will just show up with the application and say, I'm ready to get started. And so it's available, or I'm available to discuss anything going further.
Great.
Good job. That's very impressive.
Yeah, good job. Jamie, can you go back to the slide that had the rows of whether they're in progress or completed? Just an idea for our annual report when we get around it is to have another column of leveraged amount, if they would disclose it. I mean, they have no reason to if
Right.
they go beyond what our matching is. But if they would, to show that the American Legion,
Right.
we kicked in this much and it resulted in this much. We do that with some of our other programs, and I think it'd be kind of neat to show that as well.
Absolutely.
If they're willing, that'd be good.
Another thing I think would be good to add too is maybe, that tags onto that, is maybe a point out in the future, whether that be a year later, and, you know, you go back for a kind of after interview and say, you know, how has the feedback been from your improvements? Has that really caught down, and did that help your business? Did you have positive feedback? Did you attract more customers?
Yeah,
So that,
that's
I
a great
think,
idea.
Yeah, and I think the before and after pictures are helpful. We so quickly habituate ourselves to a new situation, we forget
Yeah.
how
How it was.
even the Advantage mortgage now, that's not, hasn't been that long. But I
2 months.
had forgotten how different it looked. And that's a huge improvement on 99.
Or the Blockbuster Video, that could have been a really challenging space to fill. And we're so fortunate that they chose that building, and then it really looks great.
Yeah.
That's a big space, isn't it?
It's a big space.
And as far as the other column goes, this will go on our website, and so I can try and dig into that information
Yeah.
and update an extra column, and then send it out to you guys when it's all completed. Just to
Yeah. I think it's important for us to show when we're getting a return on
Absolutely.
our dollar. Certainly, you could do that times two for everything that's in that column, and we would know that for certain. But in some, like the American Legion, they really dug deep into their pockets in
Right.
order to make it
right.
a dignified place for their customers and Legionnaires.
And
I'm
I
really excited about
I
it.
believe they're also using the revolving loan fund to help fund that, which is just another part,
Yeah.
another component that the urban renewal helps with,
Yeah.
and helps them to make sure that they can do exactly what they need to do.
Great presentation. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. All right. Urban renewal updates, is that for you tonight, Greg?
I had just a couple things to add on. One, it's in a report in your packet, and it talks about the industrial site certification, and that process is starting again. That's, you don't get certified just one time and you're there forever. It's, and I forgot what the time frame is, I'm sorry, I don't know if it's a 5 or 10 year. But anyway, that process is starting again, and it's a volunteer program where the people, the property owners within the urban, or the industrial park can choose to participate or not. The majority are choosing to participate, and I don't think it costs them any money to participate. I think it's just, do you want your site certified so that it can be advertised basically on the state website? It says this is we call it shovel-ready. I noticed in here, Renata's calling it decision-ready, but that's maybe a little better term, so. And then the other thing is, we talked about the facade improvement and the revolving loan fund, and also in that report talks about the 3D design, and that is through a grant from Clackamas County. And Canby Rental took advantage of that, and in your packet is a concept design for a new building, and that would transform that corner a lot if that happens.
Dramatically.
And they're pretty excited about the program, and I think we're hoping to see something out of that this fall. So we're excited about that, and they are too.
The other thing in the packet too was the new marketing piece that Renata has put together, the Canby in the Spotlight.
Yeah.
Some great highlights in there of some of our, what's going on in the business piece too, so I think that's a great, and she's doing that quarterly, every 6
What's
months.
that? Every 6 months, and that was the first one. But that's a really good way to be extremely positive about what's going on and show that there is activity within the community, and very positive activity, so.
Great, any other updates? Sequoia Bridge, how's that coming along?
If you drive by there, just drove by there this weekend, they're actually starting to put up the wall. It's going slower than we thought. There's been some issues with the county, which we're getting resolved. They own 13th, so when you have a street
Oh, that's right. They do.
exiting onto a county road, they want to talk to you about it, so we're talking about it. So, talking with their engineering group.
Yes,
But
sir.
it's going well.
Okay.
A compliment to whoever was responsible for the marking of the filbert trees that were taken out. That was a surgical job.
Yeah.
I was down there taking a look at that and the way they had that marked. And they took no tree more than they needed to for the length of that, so.
Excellent. Yeah. And I'm not sure who did that. It's probably Jerry Nelzine or Saul.
So,
He's a surgeon with that.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
perfect. Anything else, Greg, on?
That's,
Okay.
thank you.
Just an additional item here under new business. Last week at our city council meeting, council wanted to give staff direction and agency direction on regarding the library or civic project for Third Avenue options, and I just want to make sure we reconfirm that that's the direction we want agency to direct staff to go with as well. Seeing head nods, yes, okay. I had some conversation with Greg, our city manager. If there are, and help me with pinpointing what you want from us in terms of if there are questions, any preliminary kinds of questions for Greg, to get those to Greg quickly so he can have them for us, or answers to those questions for the October meeting. And we talked about not necessarily questions on the whole project, but just trying to get those narrowed down to the first initial kind of construction types of questions.
Right, exactly.
So we can keep the ball going and whatnot on that.
I don't know what kind of question you might have, but you might have questions like, can you take the existing building and put a second story and build out? How much would you need in terms of build out if you do go behind? Those types of things. If there's another site, what would be your vision for that, or questions regarding that site, or
Sure.
those types of things. So any questions you might have, you can email them to me, and we'll compile them. We've already met with Mr. Frank Berg and talked to him about that and told him that we would be getting questions, and at some point we got to have a finite, if we're going to make the October.
Right,
You know,
no,
and
so,
then we'll kind of cut off the questions and then make a presentation, and then if you got questions that are generated from that, I think that's what our plan is anyway, so.
okay.
Well, I'm just glad that you understand the deadline of October. We are accumulating $540 a day in interest on those
Yeah.
bonds, and I'd like to see that
Yeah.
go to good use.
Yeah, and that's why I say, at some point, we'll probably, we would need to stop asking questions, and doesn't mean we won't have more, but let him make a presentation and then generate more questions. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect.
So it won't be the end-all in terms of presentation, but
Great, thank you, sir.
thank you. Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Great, moved and seconded, or moved by Commissioner Hensley, seconded by Commissioner Dale to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much, Canby.